Now the second thing, when I say the obsolete, you guys, some of you are already worked on the SAP. You know that some of the modules definitely became obsolete and the new module comes. Sometimes you see the requirement for that module was less, low, high, that and that. We all know the market. So I wanted to learn something which should remain in the market for, let's say, longer term, 20 years. Okay. So I just did the research and I found this is the module which is the smallest module in the SAP. Sorry guys for the disturbance. It's a late night for me. 9, I think 9:40 or 9:50, whatever time. So this was, I found it's a very interesting, right? It's not going to be obsolete because what happened that time I correlated that this is the compliance which is going to be implement not only one country, but it is going to be extend to multiple countries because everyone or all the countries should harmonize or uniform the process. So that time I already, I would say, forecasted and understood that this is a very good thing. And if I learn this module, and not only the module, if I become an expert of the serialization, then I need not to be worry for the recession, job security, anything, because any company can survive, can stop without the SAP, let's say. But the particular the pharma company, I'm talking if you want to make a career in the pharma, every company can survive without the SAP. They can go switch to this Oracle. They can switch to any other thing, Dynamics. Okay. Now the company cannot survive without the serialization because that is the compliance. They have to, or they must to follow the serialization rules, right? So they must follow the serialization rule, and if they do not follow the rule or the compliance, then they will be out of the market. And particular in the pharmaceutical, it's a very, very restricted industry. Very, very scrutinies are there. FDA audit very, very regressively. So no company wants to get any kind of fault in their process. So whatever rule says, they follow it. They never use their own, say the processes. They always follow whatever the standard says and whatever the compliance says. That is the one reason. The second reason, once one country is implemented, now the same data has to go because it's a global market. The global market, we supply the product globally. So when we are creating a data in a specific format and we are sending it to our customer, they also must use the same format. If they use a different format, they are out of compliance. So that means the serialization concept also has to implement by that country also. Later or sooner they will do that. So that is the reason I opted for the serialization and I worked hard and make a career over there. So that was a right decision. So since then I worked for the serialization since 2016 and implemented the serialization for the DSCSA first. It was in 2017, November 2017. Then it was delayed by 1 year. So successfully we implemented in 2018 for the US, and then immediately we implemented for the Europe, EU FMD. Okay, it was on 9th of February 2019. I remember all the dates because I had the pressure. So after that, there were so many regulations was there, but due to this COVID, most of the countries has delayed their implementation for the serialization. But now the COVID is almost gone. So the countries like US, other countries, they are preparing. Middle East, like this your UAE, where is Tatmin is there, they are also preparing for that. And visa. So it's supposed to be live, right? But they also slightly delayed it. But everyone is prepared. So country-wise country, they are preparing like Australia, okay, Canada, Health Canada also, like they publish the guidelines when they are going to be serialize their product. So likewise, country-wise country, they are implementing the serialization. So if the country by country, the serialization requirements is there, then your requirement is also there. So it will be for a long time process. So not only after the implementation, there are the regulations. It's a lesson learned. So once they implement something, then after 2 years of lesson learned, they understood, okay, there are the flaws, there are like something we need to improve in the process or regulations. So they update it. When they update it, then again our job is there. So that's what the serialization is, one of the line which basically very important, very critical, and it is not impacted by the recession. You know the which industry was most profitable during the COVID? Most of the industry was down and all this. Only pharma industry. They earn the profit like anything. And now also the recession is there, but the pharma industry will be less impacted. You know why? Because people need medicine. It doesn't matter the cost. If we are sick, we take a medicine. Right. So medicines requirement are there because those are the essentials. Only industry in the pharma industry, when they lay off, the only when they get some kind of defect warning from FDA or their business ran out due to the competition. That's the only time. Otherwise, it's a very good industry, and some of you people are already there in the pharma. You know that. Okay, so that is my introduction. Any question over here, or we can park the question here and let's concentrate on this slide. So basically in the training, we will be focusing on the market requirements, why the serialization came into the pictures, market requirements, like what are the different markets, what are their requirements. So serialization is harmonized. Basic requirements are same for most of the countries or all the countries, but top of that, there are some countries, they need some additional information. Like one of friend was working on Anvisa. In Brazil, they need the HR Anvisa code. Like in Portugal, they need an HRN number additionally. So those are the slightly, or like in Germany or some other countries in the Europe, they don't use the GTIN, they use the NTIN, like in Portugal also. So those are the slightly difference, and I'll tell you what are the difference over there, why they use that. Okay, so based on the market requirement, the serialization process impacted. So that we will explain. And why the SAP ATTP for the pharmaceuticals? Why not? Then we will also explain on the business processes, solution in a scope. GS1, which is a general specification 1, this is a guidelines. Okay, this is a Bible for us. It has all the guidelines and best practices which we use in our serialization for pharma industry. EPCIS is basically a format. It's named the system also we call sometimes the EPCIS system, Electronic Product Code Information Services. So this is the format. This is system name. So many interpretations. So there is a standard also vocabulary. Okay. So everyone has to follow the same vocabulary. I'll tell you, those are called the CVV, core business vocabulary. I'll provide you documentation and some customized documentation which I specifically created for training. Then country-wise, I will cover US, I will cover EU, which is the most usable because these two countries are mostly, if you get a job, you will support. And some of the technical elements like how we use the SOA manager, basic, because this trading will be focusing on the functional side, not the technical side. But I'll tell you the data model also. Integration, what are the functional side integration is really required for ATTP and ECC or ATTP and S4HANA. So it's up to you because those are the service activation and some RFC creation and activation. And from the functional side, we have a very, very critical in the configuration. Without that, integration will not be there. So that will be part of that. And then deployment. So this particular slides tell us that how we can connect the different business partners or stakeholders. Like in the pharmaceutical industry, we have a customers, we have a CMO, contract manufacturing, and sometimes we need to report to government also. So different stakeholders or different business partners, we can use a different kind of protocols or connectivity. Like for the government system, so government system as of now for Europe, we have to send the data to the government system that is called EMVO. Okay, so that can be used through the web services. It's nowadays uh, a protocol or connectivity which is most secure way of transferring the data. We use generally web services. So that's the same thing we are also using for Tatmin and for Envisa. And then some of the countries they do not give the functionality to connect directly with the web services. Then we have to transfer through the file transfer FTP kind of like in China. So we can use the file transfer protocol also. Then we also have a ECC or S4 HANA, which is our base system. So master data like product master data, customer data, your entity data, these are maintained in the ECC or S4 HANA. So those data are there where we update serialization related information and then transfer it to the ATTP. So the data communication between the ECC and S4 HANA happens through the RFCs most of or OData, which is the transaction data. So that also we will see. Then packaging line. Guys, remember packaging line is a backbone for entire serialization. Packaging line is a system which do actual serialization. It gets the serial number, then prints the label, put the serial number on the labels, then commission it, then packing it into a big box, which is called the aggregation. Okay, then do the palletization. So it does most of the thing. So your internal packaging, serialization, everything is done by your packaging line. Then it sends information to ATTP. So it communicate through the ATTP can be done through the RFCs or web services. Both way we can do. Okay, so generally 95% it's a web services. And some of the like packaging line, those are the customized and other things, small one, we can connect through the RFCs. So the work like they request the serial number from ATTP and send the information back to the ATTP, all this stuff. Now supply chain partner, this is also very important. So when we sell the product to supply chain partners or the CMO customers whom we manufacture the product, we need to send them their product back after manufacturing. And we also have to send them all the data, whatever we use in the serialization. So there is a communication between the supply chain partners. So the communication basically we use the web services. So this kind of the communication like we get the serial number from the customer because it's their product, they have the serial number, they send it to us. We take that serial number and then we send it to packaging line because packaging line actually doing the packaging with that serial number. So packaging line gets that serial number, do all the packaging, then send it back to the ATTP. ATTP have all this information and then ATTP send all this information back to customer. That you send me this X serial number, with this X serial number, I did all the work, all the packaging, and this is the details of the packaging. So that communication is done through the web services. Now this is the landscape, like how the ATTP is compatible for connecting a different kind of system. ATTP can connect the government system because some of the countries has a requirement of connecting or need to report. We need to report the serialization data to them. So they have a cloud system like EMVO or Tatmin or Envisa, where after the shipment, whatever product we are circulating to that country, we need to send those like product information to their cloud system. So that is called the government system or regulatory system. So ATTP is compatible for connecting with that. Then third party ERP. Let's say you have an Oracle system. Okay. And this is a very interesting, very common. Pharmaceutical industry, and I'll give you so many examples during the training. Okay. But just for brief, pharmaceutical industry is very dynamic. Selling and purchasing, not the product, but entire company is also very frequent. So how it sells? So some small company, big company always buy the small company. Sometimes they buy their product, only the product, not the entire company. They have a, let's say, X product. They buy that product. Now that product ownership is with the big company. They buy the product. Sometimes they purchase the business unit of that particular country, and sometimes they acquired entire company. Okay, so let's say you have a SAP ATTP and your company have a SAP ERP system or S4 HANA, and then your company purchased another company which is using, let's say, Oracle. So it's a ERP system, and you, whatever the product you are serializing on that, which they are using the Oracle, so we can connect ATTP with that system, third party ERP. Okay, it can be SAP also, that company, or Microsoft Dynamics or Oracle. We can connect. So ATTP is compatible for connecting those systems for data replenishment. Same is with the ECC or ERP or EWM, whatever WM system, we can easily connect. Third party warehouse system, it's also very common. Most of the companies, like some of my friends like Abhijit or whomsoever are from the packaging, okay, like Manohar. So these guys, they are using a specialized packaging system. Maybe they are using Optal, Jackson, Liters. I don't know which they are using. Probably, I think Optal only. So in the warehouse, they have a specific software. So sometimes it's related to Optal. Warehouse, we need to rework, because what happens after the packaging, from the packaging line, we send the product to warehouse. Now in warehouse, anything mishappening happens, like pallet fell down, or there is like labels ripped off, or some of the case fell down from the shelves and it damaged the bottles or product. So damage thing happens. So we need to destroy those products which is already damaged. Or sometimes QA comes, like our friend Srinivasa. They goes to the warehouse and tell, I need this box for the QA, like uh, for sampling, right? So they goes there. Now this serial number which was packed now need to be done the sampling. So those things need to be done at the warehouse level. So for all this activity which we need to do in the warehouse, either we have a third party warehouse system or it is interconnected with the packaging line's own system. Okay, so in that case, if it is a third party system or Oracle or Jackson or Liters, whatever the system you are using, it's their system, we can easily connect with that. So Srini, Manohar, which system you are using? Okay, Manohar is in mute. Most probably Opto. Next is the local SAP ATTP. So what happened, that the same scenario applies over here, that we acquired another company which is also using the SAP ATTP for there. Now we have our own SAP ATTP which is a global system. So till the time all the IT systems merge into one, we want to use that ATTP system report to our global system. So we can consider that ATTP system as a local system and connect to us. So from that system, it will report to us as a global system. So data can be easily communicated. So we can easily communicate another ATTP system also as a local system. And then this blue color you are seeing, local SAP AII or OER, these are the obsolete modules. So earlier, before the serialization requirement or regulation, okay, so or the ATTP, there was a module called SAP AII. You know that every your laptop, your asset, you have a tag. which is asset ID and other. So basically, it's based on that barcode type tags and it tracks based on that. But this module was not effective for serialization requirements. So that's why the SAP has created a specific module called SAP ATTP to take care of the global serialization requirements. But still, some companies can use this one. I know few companies they are still using AII as a legacy data. Okay, so we can easily connect that. And last is the supply chain partner, which is our customer, maybe wholesaler distributor, which is going to be in 2023, or as of now, CMO customers, where we need to send the data electronically. So for whose customer system, we can connect easily with the SAP ATT. Now this is the same like government system. We can connect to the web services for like after data request and data upload or file system. If it's the SAP, ECC or S4 HANA, we can use RFCs or web services. If it is a EWM, again the web services or data. Packaging line, web services, most of the time, some rare cases RFCs. Local HTTP, it's RFCs because it's a SAP. Okay, so through that. And supply chain partners, we use the web services. But some cases, if the supply chain partner does not have a good system, they customize it, we can use RFC also. I have seen that. So guys, this is here, you are seeing a barcode, which is a 2D barcode. It's called GS1 2D data matrix. So for this particular barcode and the data you are seeing, we are doing all the serialization activities. So this is the global requirement. All the drugs, all the medicines, which is under the scope of the serialization, should have this 2D barcode. Okay, so there you are seeing some data. One is the GTIN, which is related to your product, expiration date, batch number, and serial number. This has to be there in human readable form. So you are seeing this data exactly encoded in this 2D barcode. And this data which is printed over here, this is called human readable. Okay, so we'll explain you during the training why this is required. Okay, when this is already included, this 2D barcode, and what is the significance of that.
Hey Sam,
Yes.
we are receiving a lot of like disturbance sound, like something mic is wobbling or something. I don't know exactly where it is there, but just a lot of background voice noise coming.
Background voice like
Noise, not voice is fine. Is there a lot of
okay,
noise?
noise kind of like some hissing or
Yeah,
some kind of
yeah, something
Kind
is
of windy kind of. Yes.
so the people
Maybe
who
you're
are
close
not
to Windows. Yeah.
could you please mute yourself? Let's see. All
now it
right.
is better. You can mute from your side.
Me, if I mute, I cannot speak.
All other participants, right? There's a
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Let's see. All other participants, if they are doing the mute. All right. So this is the basically the serialization in the supply chain, and in the great details we'll explain during the training. So it's started with the production. The production, at the time of production, we don't do the serialization because generally, if you are in pharmaceutical industries, you know that the like the tablets, we manufactured first in the bulk of the tablets. Tablets we manufacture and stored in a big drum. Then from there it goes to the blister. Okay, so this is the first area. Then it's a blister like strips. It's go over there. Till now also we don't serialize because back of this blister or strip does not have enough space to put this 2D barcode and all this data. Okay, and then in the sales unit, generally pharmaceutical industry, they sell this medicine either by the dosage, like individual packets, or they are selling it like 5 blister into one box, and that is a selling unit. It's up to the packaging hierarchy and packaging strategy. So once it packaged into the secondary packaging, which is a box or something, which has enough space, then there we start the serialization. Okay, this is called the sales unit. And then this can have a multiple hierarchy. This box can be put into another big box for the supply chain. That big box can be put another big box, and then those big box we can put like in a pallet. So like putting the small SKU into a big box and big box into another big box, this is called the parent and child relationship, called the aggregation. The small box will be a child and big box will be the parent. Okay, so that is called the aggregation. So then we do the aggregation in the supply chain, which is done in the packaging line after the production. Once this is the palletization is there, then it moves to the warehouse. And from the warehouse, when the customer order us or we ship to the customer based on their order quantity, or if it is a CMO, then whatever the quantity we manufacture, we ship it to the customer. That is coming into your distribution, sales and distribution, shipping, sales order, delivery, PGI. From PGI it triggered. Okay, that is called the ship event. And once the shipping is been done, then whatever the physical product we are selling or we are dispatching it to the customer, we can have reporting. Reporting, we need to send those physical products information to the customer, or if it is applicable to send that for that country, then we send it to that country also. That is called the reporting. Okay, so notification of serialized sales unit data events to government DBs, database or customer. Okay, whatever applicable. So this is the GS1 standard here. General specification, as I told, this is the Bible. So we have some master data which we will see in a system. Like business partner can have our vendors, customers, CMO, service providers. Locations, like wherever you are doing any activities, it has to be part of your data. So let's say you packaged a product, but where you packaged it, you have a 10 plants. So which plant you have packaged that particular product, it should be traceable. That's what it's called, the track and trace also. Okay, so those entities where you are doing any activity has to record, like you shipped the product, where from you shipped it, from your warehouse, from your plant, so that when the investigation happens or we need to find that where from it shipped, it should tell us exact location. So those locations are called the entities. Like in SAP, these are the entities: your plant, your warehouse, your storage location and all. Okay, so those are the locations. Trade item, your materials, like your serialized product, so which assigned to a GTIN. Currently what happened that the product you are using it in SAP ECC, but once I'll show you the configuration and activation of the data, it will have additional fields where you can maintain all your serialized related data and transfer it to the ATTP. Then we have a transaction data. As I told that whenever we are shipping the data to customers, like sales order, after that we created delivery and PGI, post good issue. So that triggered a event and information. Okay, so that event triggered from your transaction. What is your transaction? Your delivery, right? So that is called the transaction event. Any data which is triggered or any event which is triggered from your transaction, like your process order or your inbound delivery or outbound delivery, okay, that is called the transaction data. So that is basically happen from your ECC and goes to the SAP ATTP. Then warehouse toolbox. So basically warehouse, most of the companies are using their own system or packaging line system, but still the SAP has given us a test toolbox. Okay, where we can customize that test toolbox and use it for our warehouse. So it validates the data and do a lot of activities. I know that two customers, they customize that test tool and using it in production environment. So that is also very good test tool if the company does not have budget. So this is the GS1 standard. So there are, you have seen the 2D barcode. So barcode also I'll show you during a training. We have a different barcodes and different labels also, and the labels also have a different requirement. So that will have a separate topic so that you will be familiar, right? So now the problem is with the ATTP guys, they are working on offshore. They do not have any visibility of like rare case they visit to manufacturing plant and see that, right? So they see the system, that's it. But actual serialization has a lot of things. It has a labels, it has a regulatory, it has a compliance, it has a lot of things, machinability, readability, ink, so many things, right? So there are the several barcodes. So basically they know, okay, there is a 2D barcode and GS1 linear barcode, data bar. But in the label, actually what is required as per the HDA, Healthcare Distribution Alliance, which basically tell that what data has to be uh, in the label, right? When you have a visibility and you have understanding that, you can better consult to the customer. Okay, so 99% of ATTP consultant does not know that. But the best thing with me that I'll educate you guys. So that's a data encoding in the barcodes and then how it is decoded. Because that also, 99.9% ATTP consultant does not know when you scan the data how it looks, how the RF gun decode the data. Okay, so those things are very, very important. Uh, Generally, if you have a good understanding, then you can be a serialization consultant. See, the ATTP consultant is just a consultant, but when you become a serialization consultant, you are the boss. Okay, I'll try to give you knowledge on that area and also educate you how those things looks like, how the RF gun, like how the data encoded in the 2D barcode and linear barcode, which we use in SSCC, and when we scan it, how the raw data looks alike and how it bifurcate any RF gun, any scanner. Because generally this 2D barcode has to be scanned by the customers or your pharmacy or your chemist at the time of dispatching. Okay, so system reads that and interprets the data, how it bifurcates. If you know that, you can easily consult them. So that is the next level of your consulting role. Then we have a EPCIS like repository, it's a database. So basically we have some formats. It's called EPCIS 1.1. For your information, US, we are going to use EPCIS 1.2. Okay, why we are using EPCIS 1.2 in from the November? Okay, and what the benefit that this like supply chain will have. What is the difference between EPCIS 1.1, 1.2? What are the basic difference? What the like how it is going to be a cost effective for the distributor, wholesaler. All these things will be your interview question, because that is you are going to support if you are going to work for the US market from the offshore or on site. This thing must to be known. So there are some elements called SGT and LGT in business transaction. You will learn all this. Then business vocabulary. This is the standard. Every system. I don't know whether you guys know or not. So SAP ATTP is not only the serialization system. There are multiple systems are available in the market. Earlier, most of the company, like one of my friend is there. They are using, Pfizer TraceLink. Now they are using SAP ATTP. They are keeping both systems. So most of the companies, they are using the TraceLink. Some companies were using the RF Excel. Some company was using Verify brand, okay, which is the Optools EPCIS system, and so many. So don't think that there is only SAP ATTP. The pharma companies are using for serialization. Okay, ATTP is a leader, and now it is going to be like most of the companies are going to use the SAP ATTP, because earlier the SAP ATTP was not good at all. It was a very, very difficult system to maintain and update. Now SAP has regressively improved that, and that's what the most of last 2 years, most of the pharma companies are switching themselves from these EPCI system to SAP ATTP. But it's still mid-level or low-level companies are using the different system. Remember, okay. But what is the thing? Let's say you are director of a company in a serialization. So do you want to be like always in your lifetime be a consultant, or you just want to grow in your career and then you became now like a lead, and then you join a pharma company is not an IT company, and then you became an associate director, head of serialization. then you got an opportunity of another company as a VP of serialization. That company does not have ATTP. What to do? So the basic things, if your base is very strong, does not matter whatever the system is there. You can consult any system, you can work on any system, because this CVV, okay, remember this thing, and I'll train you guys. This CVV is a base, irrespective of whichever system any pharma companies are using. It has to be same. No company can use or can use a different vocabulary, whatever is mentioned in CVV. Every system has to use the same. If you are from the IT companies, you know that the screen can change, but the concept is the same. Learning the screen, it's just 2 hours or 1 day's matter. So I'll make sure you guys are strong in the CVV. So in the future, not only future, let's say you are working, your company is using SAP ATTP, now you are responsible for the integration. So you have a customer who are using a trace link. Now you have to integrate your SAP ATTP with the trace link. So if you have a very good understanding of the CVV, you can understand their requirement. Okay, whatever the technical discussions is happening, you can easily interpret. They will say SGLN, GLN, this thing, this location, that, this, so many things, read point. You can easily understand because the word will be the same. If in SAP ATTP it's called a read point, trace link, it will be called read point. It has to have the same data. That's what it will communicate with each other. Okay, so in great details, I'll tell you guys in training. And then EPCIS interface, that is transferring the data between systems and government regulatory system. So that is the EPCIS capture notification will tell you there are set of rules, and EPCIS notification. Okay, so I'll make sure you guys understand that, and it will be easy for you guys to do. So these are like repositories. We have a data models. These are all we have seen previously. Nothing to be explained much. This is the supply chain reporting. So I was telling, if you remember, that there will be a EPCIS 1.2 requirement. Okay. So currently, as per the DSCSA rule, we need to send T3 information. I don't know whether you guys are familiar with that. Transaction information, transaction statement, transaction history electronically to our customer. So many companies are using ASN to send that information after the deliveries. And we are sending it through the EDI. So EDI is costly, connections and other things, but they are bearing the cost because it's a regulation. When we will implement EPCIS 1.2, this ASN requirement will almost go, will be cost saving. So we'll explain over there why, how it will take care of all the requirements. Okay, so this is for that. Generally for SAP, like from the delivery, we send the ASN separately. And then after the delivery, like PGI, we send the EPCIS message. So we do the 2 transactions. But once we implement EPCIS 1.2, it will be only 1. There is no need for that. Okay, so that will explain you. It's going to be very interesting. If you tell all this thing during a interview, the guy will be amazed at how you have that much critical knowledge. All right, so this is basically telling us for the packaging line, how works in the packaging line. As I told, that packaging line is a backbone for the serialization. 80% work is done internal packaging line, okay, for serialization. So once we start a packaging, let's say in Optal, so remember the packaging line is a different equipment. It's a combination of equipments, machine, computers, scanner, printer, lot of things. Okay, label grading. It's a big equipment which is controlled by an IT system. Okay, so there are the different companies who are providing this kind of equipment, services, and all. So Optal is a leader in that. So basically, whenever we start packaging a product in, let's say, packaging line, we create a recipe. So recipe, like we put the product number, quantity we are going to serialize, all the GTINs information. So that much quantity we are going to serialize, we need that, we need the serial numbers of that quantity. So our packaging line requests serial number to the ATTP. Okay, our packaging line keep the serial number in a stock. So whenever packaging line start packaging, it requests the serial number and gets the serial number. Then packaging line starts the packaging, like primary packaging, which is our sales unit. I told that it's a secondary packaging, which is your cartons, box, or bottles. Okay, folding box or blister we don't serialize because it does not have enough space in the backside, but it's in folding box or bottles. It has enough space. Okay, then we apply the barcode to secondary packaging, scan and verify. So basically scanning means the barcode is printed good, its label is good, that is called the label grading. And then we commission it, that it is good to go for the supply chain or marketing. Then after the commissioning, we create a packaging. So that unit we can keep in a big box. So that makes a parent and child relationship, that is called the aggregation. And then finally that big box we put and create a pallet. So that is called the palletization. That is also part of the aggregation. And once that pallet is there, then we move it to the warehouse. So warehouse, we receive that pallet. This is called as a good receipt. There we can do a lot of rework scenario. As I told, there is a warehouse system also. So as I give an example, that QA people go and take the sampling, some product for the sample, or something got damaged, something got destroyed. Okay, all this activity has to be done in the warehouse, and then we do in the warehouse all this. So in greater details, one step by step will explain you during the training. This is like why ATTP came into the picture. So earlier there was a SAP AII, which is called Auto ID infrastructure, which was not compatible for serialization requirement. So if we like now most of the companies has moved out from the SAP AII to SAP ATTP, but it's still like some companies are using, which is 2017. This scenario is no more. Everyone is moved to the serialization. So if we had a multiple SAP AII, then we can migrate the data from multiple SAP AII to one SAP ATTP. Let's say the second scenario is that we acquired a company, two companies. One is having a SAP AII still, another is SAP ATTP, or one company which is still using a legacy data for SAP AII and for the serialization data for SAP ATTP. Our company acquired that or purchased that, but we already have our SAP ATTP as a global system, so we can connect both of the systems to our global system for data replenishment. This scenario is also there that we purchased a company which is having the SAP ATTP only, and we can create that system, connect that system as a local ATTP and connect with our global system. So that is a potential migration path that can happen during the acquisition of the company. It is going back. So that is a comparison why the SAP ATTP came into the picture, why SAP AII was not useful. So it was majorly that it was not able to capture the regulation. So it was not able to integrate the SAP ERP for the master data to SAP AII. And then regulatory, main thing is the regulatory. It was not able to generate the regulatory reporting. Okay, no ERP batch integration, master data integration. So it was not compatible for anything. That's what the SAP ATTP came into the picture. All right, so let's go to the system explanation, and then we will have a question answer, and then we will conclude. So basically in the training, you will get that access of the two systems. If you opt out, like you will get the SAP ECC and ATTP. For that, you need to discuss with the Expertsoft. But generally, I'll show during a training how the data flow, what are the configuration in ECC and ATTP both systems. So SAP ATTP is generally like any other system, but most of the system, like in last 7 years, SAP is releasing a new module. They are giving a cockpit. So it has also a cockpit where users works or we do the transaction. So it has a cockpit. So in the cockpit, we have a 3 section. One is called the master data, then SNM, which is a serial number management, and repository, which has a data. So for master data, we have a different business partner which we use in our serialization process. So it can be customer, it can be vendor, it can be contract manufacturer, CMO, it can be own organization. So guys, own organization, maybe some of you have already worked in ATTP or serialization, but here own organization is very, very important. I'll tell you during the training why this is very important and where it applicable. Okay, so these are the business partners. Generally, the business partner like customer we maintain in SAP ECC and then we transfer it to SAP ATTP. Then we can maintain all the serialization related data over here. Same is with the location. So generally in the SAP ATTP location, we consider as a plant and storage location. And it has a specific number called the GLN, global location number, like this number. Okay, so that number we maintain in SAP ECC, we do some sort of the configuration and then we maintain and transfer this data. So whatever like activities we are doing with any serial number, it has to be done to a location. And the location is recorded with this number, not your SAP ECC number. Okay, so that will be identified by this number. So that we maintain in SAP ECC, transfer over here. Then we have a trade item, which is your material master. So material master also part of the ECC, like we maintain in MM01 and other things, we maintain all the data. But generally for the serialized product, we have to do some sort of the configuration and those configuration activate some additional fields. Okay, and then we maintain the data in those additional field and transfer it to the SAP ATTP. So you can see that there is two things, the serial number, like we can, this is came from the SAP ECC and this is the SAP ECC material number. But actually here it understands by this GTIN number. It's a global trade number. So all this data we maintain in SAP ECC with the additional fields after activation. And then we transfer over here. And then these are coming here for the serialization data, all are. Okay. So Pfizer profile. One of my friends is from the Pfizer. I don't know who created the Pfizer profile for Austria. All right. Those all are the test data. System. System is a system we have seen, like it's a regulatory system, it's a CMO system, or it's a packaging line, right? All the systems we create here, and then we do some sort of the technical configuration with our basis team or technical team. Okay, they set up over here, and then we create the system. It can be a packaging line, it can be your 3PL, it can be your CMO customer system. Okay, so this thing can be here and we maintain here, but most of the technical setting is done by our basis team.
ഒരു ആപ്പിളൊക്കെ കഴിക്കണം കേട്ടാ. എന്നും ഒന്നും കഴിക്കാണ്ട് അങ്ങോട്ട് വരണ്ട.
Please mute yourself.
എടാ ഫോൺ ഈ പാത്രം എടുത്ത് അങ്ങോട്ട് കിച്ചണിലേക്ക് വെക്കട്ടെ.
Attendee 10, please mute yourself. All right, thank you. So this is like a system, but I'll explain you in great details. In fact, some of you haven't seen the packaging line, right? I'll make sure I'll give you a virtual tour of the packaging line. You understand all the equipments and everything you will see there. You understand how the like medicine is packaged in the packaging line. Okay, so that I'll show you during the training. The serial number management here, you know, the serial numbers are different based on the different country or different regulation. Like Europe, you cannot do a sequential serial number. It has to be 1 by 10,000. Okay, so those are the like characteristics in the serial number which we maintain here, and then we maintain the product, and in product we applies for the country. So all this thing we will see here, like serial number, whether it's a sequential, it's a randomized, okay, or it's a internally managed, or it's like it will get from the customer externally, all these things. So you can see this is the non-randomized, but it can be randomized also. Okay, so this is the sequential, but sometimes we get the randomized 1 by 10,000 is for European, non-randomized is sequential. All these things we use that. So there are a lot of configuration understanding and uh, like scenarios where we apply those characteristics. So this is complete section for the serialization. Then we have a batch. Batch basically auto replenish. We need not to always transfer the batch. As soon as you create a batch, it automatically come over here for that particular product. Okay, and the batch when we create like MSC1 and other things in process order, so it take all the data and come over here to like manufacturing date, expiry date, which plant the batch is created. Okay, all these things, or for which product this batch is. So all these informations are here. Then we have a trade item, like we can trace each and every serial number over here, that what is their current status. This is just created. So we have a lot of status here for the serial numbers. So if it is been shipped, then it is shipped. If it is like destroyed, then it is destroyed. So you can see over here each and every serial numbers traceability. Then this is for the SSCC, which is the container or the pallet. We can see same thing. It's like in transit. This SSCC, this pallet is shipped. Okay, so like that you can see all this. This is in the warehouse. It is received in the warehouse. Like that you can see here. This one is shipped. Okay, active. This is just a commission. It is still in the packaging line. They are working on that. Like that you can trace each and every pallet. Events, you can see the specific events for a particular day or particular timeline. What are the events we have done or system have done, we have received from the packaging line or from the our CMOs. So here we have a lot of events. We can see we have a commission events. We have like we should have an aggregation, observe event, okay, load event, receive event, packaging, which is the aggregation event, and then commission event. We have like transaction event. All these events are here. So basically we can see that. So business transaction event is your business transaction like related to your delivery or inbound delivery. So you can see all these events are here. Okay, so these are related to your business transaction. How it gets created, how it triggered, we will see in the training. Reporting events, that is like you are reporting to government system or supply chain, like your customers. So this is like we send it to the customers. It triggered automatically. We can do the 2-step, 1-step, or we can authorize it. So there's a lot of business rules are there. Okay, which we will use there. And this is the authentication, like verification of the product. We can do that. Whenever the verification like comes over here, the system verifies. Okay, this is not okay. That's we received the information of a product for verification and we found that the information is not okay. All this is wrong. So this is most counterfeit product or fake product. And the second one we received, okay, everything is okay. Serial number is okay, GTIN is okay, expiry date is okay, everything is okay. So this is a genuine product. So this is for the verification. Now I'm going to show you some configuration. So basically the training will not only show you the process, but also cover the configuration part. So here are the configurations are there. We will do the system customization like integration between ECC and all. Then we have a core business vocabulary, which is very important. I'll provide the documentation as well as understanding of that, what we need. Then encoding, decoding, as I told that when we scan it, the data, how it looks, the raw data, then how the system interpret and all these things. Then company prefix is a main thing for the serialization. And we have authorization, then rule is a very important. Okay, based on the rule, all these events and everything get triggered. Okay, reporting event and all. And I will also tell you how to handle the error handling. If you are supporting any project, error handling is a must. So that will also be part of the configuration. A lot of configuration are there. I cannot explain you all the things over here. So that is the demo. Now question answer. Yeah, go ahead and ask the question.
Sam, how long is going to be this training?
General, it is 20 hours, but to be very honest, 20 hours is not because when I take care, I also include the serialization. Okay, so serialization concept is must for understanding because you want to get a job or good opportunity or career scope. For that, next level is the serialization. So includes that. So 20 hours you have to consider it, but can be extended 20 to 24 hours like that.
Okay. Is it going to be weekly one class or Saturday, Sunday, or how is like that?
Currently, I have a weekend classes. Okay, that is my time morning. I think 9 to 11. So I can have we can if you want a weekend classes we can shuffle it, like I can manage it and reschedule timings. Weekdays, yeah, it will be early morning for you guys, but I'm available. But weekdays it will be 1 hour class, weekend it will be 2 hour class. So it is same every week 4 hours.
So weekend is it going to be Saturday and Sunday both the days?
Yes.
Okay.
So 2 hours each day, it will be 4 hours.
Hey Sam, quick question. Will you be covering the EWM portion of integration with ATTP
No,
and the mobility aspect of it?
no.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Hey, generic question. Any like demo or some high level VRS, ICH, and
Yes.
TI? Lot of things are going in the market. So I don't know whether
So
you.
we'll tell you, okay, yeah. So we'll tell you high level of the VRS 2023's requirement, okay, which is required. If you are going to for an interview or for supporting those, it is must to know, okay. So end of the training, we have a session where I explain the VRS unit level traceability for 2023. Then we'll also explain some of the other countries' requirement, like one of friend was telling Anvisa or Tatmeen, or we can take the India also, where we have IVEDA, which is going to be compliance on 1st of April, but it's going to be extended. So yes, we have the high level overview session for all those regulations.
And my understanding is that the VRS, ICH don't have too much of configuration. They're standard out of the box.
Remember, ICH is not part of this training. No one can have the ICH. Okay, it is maintained and handled by the SAP itself.
Itself, yeah.
Okay, right. So no training institute can have. If someone is telling that is absolutely false, I can tell you overview of all the regulations which is been there. ICH is a system, it's not a regulation. Okay.
Right.
Information Collaboration Hub, this is a system kind of for the integration.
Mhm.
Integration with your system, integration with your regulatory department. It's not a regulation. Regulation overview will be there, which is required to understand. Okay, like VRS, verification router services, unit level traceability, which needs the aggregated data. Okay, what is the EPCIS 1.2? Why we required it? Or let's say IVEDA, why we need it? All this. So that we will have a special session called the overview session of regulation.
Thank you. Okay, last question. I think I don't know if anybody has it. When you are thinking of initiating the formal session.
Initiating the training, your
Yeah.
question is, so that's what I said, that weekdays. Now I just finished, I think 1 week back, one session. So weekdays I'm available.
So let me
Your
ask
early
that,
login
when is the
time.
next session starting? That's what I want to know the date. Like next week or
You
next.
need, no, what I'm saying, you have to coordinate with the Expertsoft.
Mhm.
Okay, for the next training, they will coordinate with me and set up the time with me based on the number of participants. Okay, it's not for the individual. So
Mhm.
connect with the Expertsoft for the next session and its timing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, quick question, Sam. Any certification offered by SAP, and will this training which you provide, right, help in certification?
There is no certification in SAP as ATTP provided by SAP.
Okay, thanks.
But I can tell you, I can guide you to get the certification in serialization.
Is there any who provides it?
I'll tell you
GS1?
during a training.
Okay.
There are so many certificates and so many things. You can get it, but you will get visibility, right? So those certificates are basics, and if you are in India, you can get in very cheap. But if you are in US, it's a very costly, like any certification.
Okay, thanks. And where are you located, Sam, on East Coast? Just
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay. All right.
Thanks for the great overview. You provide a good flavor. We appreciate your time, and we look forward for the session. Thank you
All
again.
right. So thanks everyone for your time also from my side, and discuss with the Expertsoft and let them know your decision. Okay, and whether you want a weekday and weekend. So based on the number of participants, we will form a training, because my previous drama also many people are, I think, waiting to start the training. So they know always. So they will make a strategy and let me know. Okay. So thank you guys. Thanks, and hoping to see you guys soon.
Sure. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks.